Welcome to White River Valley Electric Cooperative's 84th Annual Meeting of Members, live from our headquarters in Branson.
Good morning, and thanks for joining us for the 84th White River Valley Electric Cooperative Annual Meeting. Today, we are celebrating the members that make us. 84 years lends a lot of history and some pretty good stories to share about the members and experiences they've had in your electric cooperative. We'll be sharing many of those moments today as we celebrate those 84 years of service to the members who make us. Like this bit from Lucy, one of our longtime members. Check it out and see what I mean.
I want to thank you for that wonderful feeling when the lights come back on. I lived through the oil lamps, and boy, it's dark. Candles are nice, but praise the Lord for everyone at REA. Lucille, Lucy D., White River member.
Thanks for sharing, Lucy. We're glad you're all tuning in with us today, and make sure to stay for the entire meeting. You'll hear from several more members, get updates on what's happening in the electric world and with our high-speed fiber internet project. You'll have a chance to pick some topics to discuss with our execs. We'll announce prizes throughout the meeting, deliver live election results, and, as if you needed more, we'll have an additional chance to win electricity just for watching today. We've got a lot going on, so stay with us. In annual meeting fashion, we've asked our 2023 Youth Tour winners to join us. Abigail Folnecki from Nixa will be leading the pledge with the help of Aaliyah Youngblood from School of the Ozarks and Matthew Martin, also from Nixa. Matthew will then follow in leading the prayer.
Please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Matthew will lead us in the prayer.
Heavenly Father, we are so grateful to be here. We're grateful for this country and the freedoms that it have given us. We're grateful for the White River Valley Electric Cooperative and the power that they have brought into our lives. Not only just the power that they have brought, but the community they have provided and the friendships, and we ask thee that thou may bless them. We ask thee that throughout this next year that we can be disciples of thee and that we can reflect thy virtues. We're grateful for the board members and how much love and care that they have for us. And we say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
We love the opportunity to start each meeting paying homage to faith and flag. We'd like to give thanks to our veterans, active military, and first responders for keeping us safe and ensuring our daily freedoms. And let's give a special thanks again to our Youth Tour winners. White River Valley is dedicated to encouraging our youth to become strong leaders, to help develop the communities we serve, and encourage them to serve in the years ahead. If you aren't familiar with our youth programs like Youth Tour and Cycle, I encourage you to check out the opportunities on our website. We continue to be impressed with the students who participate in these life-changing programs. Their insight, as well as their writing skills, public speaking skills, and more in the last few years, their video work, because candidates can now submit video essays as well. It's more than impressive. Check out this video from Miss Youngblood. She's one of the winners who just joined us. She used her videography skills and storytelling abilities to tackle this year's topic of how the cooperative will power her future.
As I write this project, crickets chirp outside. The sun hangs low. However, when it sinks beneath the horizon and only the pale stars shine, I will continue to write. My laptop will still hum, and my words will still flicker across my page. I've always loved to write. I remember in 3rd grade, while hanging from the jungle gym, I told a teacher I'd one day write books. In 7th grade, I wrote for competitions and won. With the help of the White River Valley Electric Cooperative, I have chosen writing for my future education and career. Now, you may be wondering, how does an electric co-op of all things power a writer's future? How do they support anyone besides those entering their field? To answer this, we must go back. For a complete grasp of how Wervec and others aid us today, we must first understand how they supported us in the past. In the parched land of 1935, on May 11th, a 10-year-old girl named Aretha Redwing Robinson carried water from the bottom of a hill to her tiny house in Bergman, Arkansas. On the same day, the head of a flailing country created something. His name was Franklin D. Roosevelt, and while the girl who became my granny carried buckets, he formed the Rural Electrification Administration, or the REA, to give jobs by supplying rural communities with electricity. By 1944, the young woman Retha still hadn't seen this energy. Instead, she wrote into the night with an oil lamp. She penned until her hands were black with ink, or her mother said she would burn the house down. It wasn't efficient, but they had nothing else. Retha wrote to a young schoolteacher named Elbert Keener. Neither saw each other until the weekends. The drive was too long, the chores too tiring, and neither had a telephone. In 1945, everything changed. The REA fully reached the Ozarks, leaving new electric co-ops in its wake. Retha's brother, Fifi, trucked materials for a new dam along the White River that would one day form Table Rock Lake. By the time my great-grandparents were married, Granny Retha had a kitchen with running water. Through the 1930s, 40s, and 50s, rural families like mine were given power once only belonging to cities. This electricity allowed work after dark, improved the ease of life, and developed higher learning. Because of it, Papa Elbert became a dentist, a profession all 5 of his children joined. The REA's mission for rural electricity changed Papa Elbert and Granny Retha's futures. It impacted their children, their grandchildren, and it impacted me. Electricity transformed lives throughout the Ozarks. Today, cooperative support hasn't changed. REA descendants like Wervec offer, along with electricity, community services like food drives, classroom instructions, and opportunities for local youth. One of these outreach programs, the Cooperative Youth Conference and Leadership Experience, also known as CYCLE, is a 3-day conference held annually in Jefferson City. Last year, I was given the privilege of attending this event. It was there I decided my future. The moment came during Rachel's Challenge, a program about the 17-year life of Rachel Joy Scott. A few weeks before she died in the Columbine school shooting, Rachel wrote an essay asking others to treat everyone with kindness. Her family publicized the work and now speak to schools across the nation about her challenge. This girl and her words save lives. At CYCLE, I realized I have the same chance. Today, I mention examples of how Wervec has and continues to power our future. Wervec and the REA have already changed family histories. They gave our loved ones the ability to further education without leaving their home and families. I am here today, able to write into the night because of these events. Wervec continues to provide this essential commodity not for profit with a greater emphasis on community. As I have shown, they give youth opportunities to learn about Missouri, our government, and ourselves. They give through scholarships. They give to food pantries. White River Valley gives for our futures. As I look outside, the sun has disappeared, and silvery stars blanket the sky. 100 years ago, the heavens would have been the only light. Tonight, hundreds of house lights shine, all because of rural co-ops like White River Valley Electric.
What a great story, and an excellent showcase of the talent we see in these students. It really is a pleasure to work with them each year. Well, let's get started. I'll ask the co-op's General Counsel up to call our official meeting to order.
Thank you, Mrs. Cunningham. Our bylaws set forth quorum requirements for member annual meetings. Based on the total number of cooperative members, approximately 400 members are needed to establish a quorum for annual meeting. This year, the quorum is set by the number of qualified voting members in the director election and bylaw amendment vote. With 2,468 votes cast this year, we have met our quorum requirement needed for this meeting. On behalf of the board, I would like to thank each one of you for your participation in this voting process. It is my privilege to call this year's 84th annual meeting to order. Your board president, Mrs. Jenny Horton.
Morning. When the co-op was founded back in 1939, members of this community knew that we were a locally owned business. That's likely because they or someone they knew played a part in helping to establish the cooperative. The novelty of receiving electricity eventually wore over time. The founders passed on and new people moved to the community, viewing the electric co-op like any other energy provider. But we are more than just a switchboard and financial statement. We are different, and the key to that difference is you, our cooperative members. Without your support and feedback, we would not exist. The electric utility industry is changing, and our energy needs are changing. But the guiding principles of the cooperative model are not. We continually look for ways to improve to meet the demands of the growing population and our overall lifestyle changes. It's been a year since the White River Board of Directors met for an intense strategic session to review the fiber feasibility study and the many months of research conducted by our dedicated staff. As in previous years, the needs of our members spoke. We heard you and we voted to move forward with this project. Let me assure you that your cooperative will deliver. That decision didn't come lightly, and running all of the checks and balances to make sure the models would work was a long process. The cooperative principles shape the way the electric co-op is run, as well as the opportunities we provide for our members. We will ensure that those same principles are carried out with our fiber business, White River Connect. Directors spend a significant amount of time serving in this complex industry. We have a financial responsibility to the co-op and our members. It is our role to help to guide the direction of the co-op while accepting the risk and responsibility of business operations. This helps us to hold our commitments of returning capital credits, just as we did this year with over $3.1 million back to you. We will continue to evaluate efficient and effective processes to lower incremental costs and keep rates low and still allow for those capital credit payments. As we look to the road ahead, we will always consider the path that was laid out by our founders. We will strive to connect the rural communities we serve with new opportunities. And we're excited to say that those new opportunities will include high-speed fiber internet. However, we will not lose sight of our mission to deliver safe, reliable, and affordable power to our members while enhancing the lives of those we serve. We appreciate the opportunity to serve you, and we look forward to doing so for many years to come. Thank you.
I like being able to report outages using the app, and it's nice to be able to check the app during outages for information. Obviously, outages are a bummer, but they happen. At least it's nice to be informed. Daniel H., White River member.
Part of being a member of an electric cooperative means that you have a say in our business matters. You'll see a yellow box to the right of the screen that says Choose Discussion Topics. We'll have a live panel discussion with our execs later in the show to cover the topics with the most votes. We want to deliver what matters to you most, aside from reliable electric service and, of course, high-speed internet. Most likely, you've also exercised your right to vote in our election this year. Your participation is key in our success. As a way of saying thank you, all voters will receive a $10 bill credit within the next 2 billing cycles. Voters were also entered into a drawing for prizes. These prizes come from businesses all around our 5-county area, and we'll be announcing them throughout the meeting. We'll also be drawing for an additional $500 credit for those who have joined us for the meeting today. So make sure to submit your name in the box below so you don't miss out on a chance to win. Now, let's see our first group of prize winners.
We just want to let you know how thankful we are for your excellent service and dedication. Every time there is an outage in our area, you get it up and running again in record time. You are a credit to the industry, the community, and even to the world. Thank you so much. Kimber and Linda are White River Cooperative members.
We appreciate each of you that take the time to read the information we send out, whether it be email, the Rural Missouri, our website, or even one of our social media platforms. Sharing information to educate you on how the cooperative works and ways you can participate to make it work best for you, that's part of the fundamental 7 principles of a cooperative. Staying informed helps you to make educated decisions in annual elections, be it for board nominees or proposed amendments. It helps to save you money through energy efficiency programs. It also provides you with vital information to let you know what legislation or industry happenings could potentially affect you. We also like getting your feedback. Remember, we're trying something new to engage with you throughout your time with us today. You'll see a box on screen with a number of topics, and vote for things you'd like to hear more about, and we will discuss them in the live panel later with our executive staff. There's also a bubble for tech support and any other questions you may have that we don't cover. Plus, we'll be giving away $500 and free electricity to one lucky viewer, so don't go anywhere. Let's get into the program. Check out this video from a few of our electric employees having a roundtable discussion about the daily task of delivering safe, reliable, and affordable power to your homes and businesses. A lot of things are happening around the co-op. People are really excited about fiber. We're excited about fiber. But it turns out we still have a pretty substantial electric business to run, right? We've got a lot of things going on behind the scenes to make the most value for our members and the membership that they have at the cooperative. They're the members who make us, right? And a lot of that behind the scenes, of course, we want the lights to come on, but there's some great deal of prep work that goes into that, whether it's proactive actions, load forecasting. We've had some crazy winter weather events too in the last few years. Bobby, you were front and center of that. What was going on behind the scenes to make sure that the lights stayed on?
Right, yeah, it was, Storm Elliott was extremely cold, and fortunately it didn't last quite as long time-wise as Storm Uri did. But from all these past storms, we've been able to learn a lot from them, get strategic plans in place to prevent power outages, and as well as our electrical engineers. Our power engineers do an awesome job coming in doing load studies, and then they're there countless hours during the storm, watching the temperatures, watching the loads and the peaks and so on, and then communicating that information with us in the field to go make adjustments as needed, like with fuse sizes or breaker settings and things like that to make sure that we can keep the power on and keep people's heat on and their lights on during these extreme weather conditions.
All hands on deck.
Yeah, all hands on deck. And Ross, you're right in between operations and engineering at dispatch. What did it look like from your end?
Oh, like they're saying, all hands on deck during those situations. We'll just continually monitor all of our substations, all of our feeders, and if they're getting anywhere close to going over what we set as a limit, we will have our dispatchers that are there 24/7. We'll work with them and our system techs and work on trying to get those adjusted to where your lights don't go off during those times whenever it's that extreme cold.
A lot of planning, and we sure appreciate everybody's efforts and working together to make that happen. It's not one particular department, right? In addition to what we're doing here, I know our power providers and just many power generating utilities across the country are having challenges with power supply issues because coal-fired plants are closing sooner than anticipated. There's a big push for renewable energy, which we support. We have a lot of members of that, but we're fortunate in the fact that our providers, Associated Electric out of Springfield, have a diverse portfolio mix so they can meet all of our needs all of the time. I think 22, I had some notes, over 60% was that coal base, and over 25% were from renewable energy sources. We have a lot of members that we service here in our backyard that are solar, we have some wind generation going on, but we want to make sure that they call us first because we can help them. And Ross, oftentimes they'll talk to you. How does that work?
Yes, we do have a lot of members that have solar or are looking into solar. So we encourage everybody to call us. The main reason is we want to make sure that that's going to be a fit for them. We'll be able to look at their usage history and see like how big of a system that you would want. If it's going to be too big, it may not pay off as well for them. So definitely call us. We'll be able to do a site survey, look at your usage history, and make sure that that is going to be a good fit for them.
So they're not paying for more than what they need, right?
Correct.
And that site survey helps check some boxes, right?
Yes.
What's the life status of the roof and where are they going to put it? All of those things that will help them on that return on their investment, right? But it does take a dedicated meter and some agreements that we have to do. Walk us through that.
We have what's called a net meter agreement. So they'll fill this out with the help of the solar vendor, and it will just explain how it's going to be installed, where the equipment's going to be, and then we'll go through a process and make some changes or approve that. So once they get it installed, we'll come out and inspect, make sure that it does not backfeed onto our system, because one of the main reasons we do this is we don't want it to backfeed whenever our linemen are out working on the lines. That voltage could very much hurt somebody. So it's a big safety aspect, is the main reason why we're doing that. So then after that, and it passes, we will install a net meter. And the net meter is a little bit different from our regular meters. The regular meters just read all of the energy going through it just one direction. Okay. The net meter is a bidirectional meter, so we're going to be able to accurately read what they're using, what they're producing, and then each month you'll be billed on what's called the net reading, which is the difference between what they've used and what they put back on to the system.
Well, and I think sometimes there's some confusion about what they're paid for that too, right? Because that's at a wholesale rate, just as our power providers pay for it. So what they don't use, then they sell back at that wholesale rate. So figuring that when they're looking at what the return on investment is going to be really is key. That, you know, a big piece of that puzzle.
It is, and according to the state of Missouri, that's how we will reimburse that, through that wholesale rate. So that's why you don't want to build too big of a system, because your amount of return on investment is going to be a lot longer time in order for that to happen. So you definitely want to make it size for like what your current needs are for your residents.
Well, because the idea is to save, right? Not pay here or pay here, it's to pay less.
Yes.
Right, so that's key in calling first and walking through those steps to make sure it's the right fit for that particular location.
It is.
Whether it's a net meter or just meter for general home and business, that's a dedicated meter that you're working to switch out now.
Yes.
right? And it's AMI. Tell us what AMI stands for.
Yeah, AMI is Advanced Meter Infrastructure. It is the same technology that we've had for over 20 years, but every meter has a lifespan. So most of our meters have come up to that lifespan. So we've been exchanging those for the past several years. And we're wrapping up that program, and we're in kind of the southern Stone County area, Kimberling City to Branson West, Indian Point area, changing meters. So a lot of people in that area will start seeing White River Valley Electric Cooperative employees changing their meters out.
Okay, well, they like seeing their friendly faces in the area, and whether it's changing meters or doing system improvements. We've got some monthly checks going. I know, Bobby, you're out in the field doing that with some others. Tell us what that looks like.
Yeah, so we do monthly inspections of all of our substations and our downline devices, all of our critical equipment downline as well, just to do a visual check and also to make sure that they're in proper order, so that helps prevent outages. So we do that on a monthly basis, and then we're also on a routine schedule of changing that equipment out on a certain regular basis to ensure, again, that it's going to stay in proper working order. So,
well, and I'm sure that helps to see things before they're happening.
Absolutely.
So it's not a truck's roll. We're doing that during the day, and we're making sure it's reliable, and the lights are coming on, the heat's on, the air is on, whatever it may be, but you guys are there doing it. There's system-wide or special projects that you have a hand in too. Walk us through some of that.
Right, yeah. So some of our upgrades to our system includes, like last year, for example, we put a new transformer in the substation in Cedar Creek. And so that was a needed improvement there. And then this next year, we've got scheduled to have a second transformer added into our substation located on Jobald Road. And because of all the growth that's happened over the last few years down Jobald Road, that substation has become severely overloaded. So we've got that on the plans, and it's very critical that that happens next year as well.
Yeah, and it's important that we serve the members that we have and meet the growing demand for potential members coming in. It's beautiful here. Yes. That's why people want to live around the lake, they want to live around the water, and we want to support that, but it does require special needs, doesn't it? So, well, we've talked about the system, but we also need to maintain the beautiful land around it. Brian, tell us about right-of-way.
We do live in a very beautiful part of the country, and but it is very heavily forested, as we all know, which makes it a huge challenge to manage the vegetation in the right-of-ways, but it's something that has to be done in order to keep the power on.
Sure.
We utilize an IVM process, which stands for Integrated Vegetation Management Program.
Okay.
And what that consists of is a multitude of different methods and procedures to combat the vegetation as it grows, whether that be manual cutting and pruning, mechanical cutting and mowing, herbicide applications, TGR applications, spot treatments wherever it's needed. And that's what we do. We started this program about 10 years ago, and that was a reclamation phase. So we went through the entire system and reclaimed the right-of-way because we had a lot of large trees that had been left for years, decades, that had to go. And that was kind of a painful process, but we made it through it, and we're now in the general maintenance cycle, which should be, much less invasive. As we come through, you're not going to notice it as much. We're just doing trimming, mowing, and those herbicide treatments in between, and we're going to do that on a 5-year cycle. To do that, we got to cover about 800 miles a year of trimming and mowing, about 1,400 miles a year of herbicide. So it's a big undertaking.
It's a cost savings too, right? You
Absolutely.
reclaim that so you don't have to do everything every time. You can just come back and do it where needed.
Yep.
And I think, didn't that put us in a gold standard for some right-of-way work?
It did. So this last year, we were awarded the proclamation, if you would say, from the International Society of Arboriculture. And what that is they named us a Treeline USA company. And what that means is that we submitted our methods and strategies and the things that we're doing to combat the vegetation, and that we're doing it the right way in their eyes. But it's not only that. We also participate in Arbor Day. We go to the schools in our communities and we plant trees with the kids, and we talk about right tree, right place, things like that.
That's so fun.
And yeah, it's
those
a good
kids
time.
get right in there. They love planting the trees.
They get in there and shovel dirt, get in the hole, and get dirty. Yeah, they love it. They do. But
and we love doing it.
we do. But that was an honor for us to receive that. There's only a handful of utilities in the state of Missouri that have that.
Proud and humbled.
Absolutely.
it's really working because we have less outages.
Yeah.
We're out for less amount of time if we do have an outage, because those tree outages are some of the most costly that we have to mitigate, right?
Yeah.
And they happen the most, so as it so goes. So it all comes around a cycle there, not only for the costs and lowering costs, but reliability. But internally, we're doing a lot of work on maximizing our functionality through employee training and new software. Tell us how dispatch is working.
So Ross mentioned earlier that we've got dispatch 24/7, 365. So we've always got somebody in the seat that's monitoring the entire system. What's going on load-wise? Are there outages? Are there blinks? They're sitting there monitoring that. And as those problems arise, then they dispatch crews out to address them. Now, they're highly trained in what we call OMS, or outage management system. And that's just the entire system in general. But one of the key components of that is called SCADA. And SCADA stands for Supervisory Control and Data Acquisition.
Okay.
So what that means is let's say we have a fault out there on the line somewhere, squirrel, tree, whatever it is. It could be a momentary blink, or it could be an actual outage that locks the line out to where it's de-energized and we have to send crews out to turn it back on. Dispatch will see that, they will get an alert, then they will go into their system, and they can actually input the data and pinpoint where the problem is a lot of times within a few hundred feet.
Wow. Yeah.
So that really speeds up the process of getting the crews out there and getting the power back on, which is what we're all about, right? The shorter outages that we have, because we're gonna have them, it's just a given. But if we can limit the time they're out and the amount of that we have, then we're winning.
Yeah, winning.
And that helps us a lot, like he said, with our job. And as well as that, I've been on many outages where you get out, you show up on this at this location, and the member wasn't even aware they were out of power. So we get out there, and because of this system, we can see that outage when it takes place. Now we still encourage our members to call in, if they're aware they're out of power. But with this system, it's an excellent tool.
Well, SCADA and our dispatchers, they're really the key ingredient to outage communication.
The eyes and ears.
Yeah, the eyes and ears. And like you said, sometimes they may not even know that you're there.
Right.
But they're still going to get the same level of service because we've either identified it through our intuitive system, we're tracking it on Smart Hub, they're reporting accurate information on Smart Hub, and then we can turn it around to engineering and make strategic choices moving forward, whether it be equipment or things for right-of-way that need to be done, right? So all pieces of the pie, and that also includes the folks on the other end when they call in and talk to somebody, and we've been doing a lot of training and just enhancing how that customer service delivery looks. Dustin, you've been front and center on that. Tell us a little bit about it.
We're doing a number of changes. We've had a number of changes over the last probably 12 months. One that I'm excited about is call monitoring. What call monitoring is, it's just recorded calls, and what we're doing with those is getting our team back together and listening to our calls, critiquing ourselves, and we're asking not only management but also those that are taking the calls on a daily basis to give us feedback on our processes. We're critiquing ourselves 365 just to improve the experience of our members. We have 5 different locations, and our expectation is that as a member, when you call those locations, you're getting the same responses, the same timely responses, and a great experience every time. So,
consistency.
Yeah, consistency, it's huge, and our communication is huge. When we're interacting with a member, we want to make sure that they feel good and they feel confident in us, because we should be that trusted advisor that's taking care of their electric 365, 24/7. So we're excited about that. Another thing that we're doing, or we accomplished over the last year, was providing a new payment option. And we all like new payment options. To each person is their own, and they might want a different payment option. So we provided the Pay Now feature on our website. And I think it really is a great feature for those that maybe don't have the Smart Hub app, or is just looking to make a quick payment. They don't want to make that phone call. You can go onto our website, click the Pay Now feature, put in your account number and your name, and you're off to the races making a payment or multiple payments. But I don't want that to overshadow all of our other great options.
Yeah, I'm a Smart Hub guy.
I'm a Smart Hub guy too. It's kind of that one-stop shop, really. You can report an outage, you can get updates on outages, updates with what's going around the cooperative, whether it's lobby closes or you name it.
See your usage.
See your usage, your daily usage. That is so important, especially if we're trying to conserve and bring down that bill. So I highly encourage you to tell your friends and family, as a cooperative member, utilize Smart Hub. But we also have auto pay and a number of other features. But we're excited about the changes going on in our area.
And we even have online apps now for pretty much every service that we offer. So we can do business with anybody from their couch. So it works out there too. But if they do want to come in, we've got a lot of growth and looking forward to the future, right? I think Branson just got a facelift that is really providing some benefits. You've been firsthand in that as well. So tell us a little bit about Branson.
So with fiber coming on board, so will fiber employees, and we needed to make some space for them. So that brought on the remodel down in the lobby, and it looks great. We're very excited about it. Not only are we going to be able to serve oncoming fiber customers, but our current electric members much better. One benefit that we've already seen from the remodel, outside of just how great it looks and how inviting it is the collaboration. You have your veteran employees that know the cooperative and know the cooperative way and how to take care of those members in every situation and scenario. And then you have your oncoming new ones that are just learning. And it's great for them to sit side by side, those teammates, and be able to get great feedback and provide a better experience for our members.
Yeah, the best-in-class service. That's what we're always shooting for, right? Sometimes those upgrades look at a whole new building because maybe there's one that's a little old and much need of what we were looking at, an upgrade or a tear down. Ross, what's going on in Ozark?
Ozark is going through a much-needed remodel. Not so much a remodel, but a brand new building. So the existing building, we were just running out of space. We were running out of places for our employees, for all the new equipment, for just things necessary to do our job daily. And with that, we are building a new building just right adjacent to that. So it's just something that has been needed for a long time. And Brian, you've worked there for a long time.
I worked there for about 18 years, and we've needed to do this for several years because when it rains, it pours, and I mean pour in the building.
Pour inside, yeah. There's a little bit of water issues. Well, I know the employees are excited about it. They'll be able to be in that same space to collaborate and provide the best service to our members. I know our members are curious to see what's going on over there, so the cat is out of the bag, right? Excited about all the opportunities ahead, and as we meet the growing demands of our members, going on again, we live in a beautiful area that includes lakes, rivers. We've got some water crossings coming up to make sure that everybody gets the power that they need. We have these new buildings, we're prepping for fiber, and that's already showing benefits to the electric side of the business that we're excited about. I mean, helping with all the pole change outs, and that's going to support an infrastructure for smart grid and downline devices, all helping us to serve the member better, right? It's a great day to be a co-op member. I know we're all co-op members. It's always a good day to be a co-op member, but excited about today because we get to share about the great things that we're doing to increase the opportunities for our friends in rural America. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Super reliable. Customer service is always amazing. However, I had one issue and it was taken care of immediately. I am looking for another house, and one of my must-haves is White River Valley Electric Cooperative Service, or it's a deal breaker. Thanks to all the linemen and those behind the scenes, you have a powerful impact on our community. Pun intended. Jason B., White River Co-op member.
We are humbled to have the opportunity to serve you. We're also very fortunate to have so many qualified people, both from our power providers and employed at White River, working together behind the scenes to keep your lights on. Many members have inquired about grid reliability and power supply. As it was discussed on the video, Associated Electric Cooperative, our wholesale power provider, uses a mix of resources, including coal, wind, natural gas, and hydropower facilities to provide an economical and reliable wholesale power supply to co-ops like White River. They typically use the lowest cost resources first to meet member needs. Then they look for opportunities to purchase power from other utilities at a cost that may be lower than they can generate it. This energy portfolio is really key in meeting demands, and there are contracts in place to cover 100% of our energy needs 100% of the time. Resource management and forecasting for the future is a huge part of reliability. We'll hear from our cooperative CEO next, and I'll cover more topics, but before we do that, let's see some more prize winners and grab another reflection from the members who make us.
The White River Valley Electric Cooperative makes it possible for thousands of people to enjoy the modern conveniences of life. It is this that allows me to have jam sessions on the electric guitar with friends. It's the reason that I can go out in the dark to go running. It's the reason that I can be the greatest version of myself and continue to do so. Matthew Martin, Youth Tutor Delegate, Nixa High School.
Good morning, and thank you for attending the 84th annual meeting of White River Valley Electric Cooperative. We had a wonderful year serving you, our members. Despite weather challenges and the impacts consumer demand had on our electric system, our team and partners worked hard to ensure you had access to a reliable and resilient power supply. We also made progress on our exciting new high-speed internet project. In December of last year, we experienced one of the biggest weather events in the history of your electric cooperative. Over the past 2 years, the winter weather has created an extremely large demand for our electric system. This has resulted in incremental cost for the cooperative to pay to increase. Even though we just experienced a sweltering hot end to the summer season, this summer's peak was over 40% less than the last 2 winter peaks. White River is now a utility that has an extremely high winter electric usage, and proper planning is necessary to keep the power on. In December, we were lucky. Our power suppliers planned well ahead of the winter temperatures, and they had enough capacity to serve these high electric demand periods. Our neighbors that have been retiring fossil fuel plants without planning of any replacement generation were not so lucky. These early retirements of generation facilities jeopardized the entire electric grid. With the growth of electric loads, retirements of existing generation are forcing power suppliers into situations that require rotating outages. In times of high peak usage, rotating outages place additional stress upon the power system and on you, the members. Associated Electric, our generation supplier, has contracted to build over 900 megawatts of additional generation to meet the needs of its membership. But the permitting and construction process could take as long as 4 years to complete. I can assure you that as soon as the financial and technical answer to the problem of future generation is found, Associated Electric will have a well-defined and truly member-centric pathway forward. They will not, I repeat, they will not sacrifice the reliability of your electric service getting to that point. When it comes to power generation, you should have been hearing the words reliability and resilience in the media. The CEO of Associated Electric was called before a United States Senate committee to testify on your behalf concerning reliability and resilience. Both sides of the aisle agreed that current policies threaten the ability to serve loads under peak conditions. All generation types, including nuclear, wind, solar with battery storage, and fossil fuels, will be necessary to assure the resilience of the grid stays intact. Also, rebuilding and expanding an aging transmission system and updating the capacities of the current system will be for the next generation will also be a priority. There's also a plan for firm transmission using strong regulations to secure and protect our grid reliability regardless of what may happen around us. With more usage of electricity, a more resilient grid will be necessary to ensure that neither shortages nor outages will diminish the ability to properly serve you, our members. Speaking of outages, we had a difficult summer outage season this year. And while we cannot stop Mother Nature, we do many things behind the scenes every day to prepare for the times like these. Our right-of-way crews perform regular maintenance throughout our entire territory. But with even the most aggressive tree trimming plan in place, we cannot compete with these storms that carried straight-line winds of nearly 90 miles an hour. Two of the last large storm events caused over 40,000 outage respirations in a 3-week time period. The storms also caused over 200 broken poles, many down power lines, and even transformer replacements. Your employees demonstrated guts and determination in their efforts to get every outage on as safely and quickly as possible. We do appreciate the patience of our members as we work to restore service after the destruction left by these storms. We realize just how much electricity is needed for the security and physical needs of our members. And during these storms, member support for our employees was truly inspiring. From writing letters and providing cold drinks to our linemen on a hot day, and even snacks and dinner, we were reminded time and again of how truly lucky we are to call this area our home and to serve each and every one of you. Aside from the storm mitigation and day-to-day operations, we've spent the last year building a broadband business. Since the decision was made to move forward, the system design has been underway, innovative technologies were chosen, and policies written for White River Connect, our fiber subsidiary. We were given over $8 million from 3 counties that we currently serve, and $47.3 million from the Missouri Department of Economic Development to aid the construction costs. The federal government has announced that the state of Missouri will be eligible for over $1.7 billion in additional grants to support broadband projects, and we will be applying to try and get as much of this funding as we can. Realize this project has a price tag of over $260 million, so every bit of award money counts. Partners have been selected in this process. We have chosen NRTC as project consultants and ITG as our contractor. Construction of the 5-year project began in June, and so far over 300 miles of fiber have already been installed for a project that will encompass over 4,000 miles when completed. You see, COVID taught us of the necessity of remote communications in our service territory to keep up with education, wellness, and business. You as members will see planners and contractors and engineers working on clearance issues, make-ready crews preparing our power lines, as well as construction and splicing crews out in your communities before we can even connect service to our members. I promise you that we are building a world-class communication system for all areas of our 5 counties that have not had access to proper internet service. In conclusion, I expect that in 2024, we will see the lighting up of hundreds of miles of fiber optic lines that will provide much-needed internet services for our membership. The future of White River Connect and White River Valley Electric Cooperative is as important to you, our members, as it was 84 years ago when we installed electricity for our rural members to improve the way they lived. My family is one of those that hooked up service in 1939. No doubt, fiber service will bring incredible benefits to all generations for years to come. As you saw in this year's annual report, I did have hair color once upon a time. It has been a huge blessing for me and my family to have served this membership for over 38 years. We have worked together to build an impressive distribution system. And I look forward to assisting with the construction of the same type broadband system. I also want to thank our board of directors for their continued contributions to our electric cooperative and the increased hours of service for the fiber optic business. We're saying goodbye to 2 very valuable long-term directors this year, Pat Funk from Ozark County and Keith Short from Stone County. You gave us over 40 years collectively. Your contributions to our communities will leave lasting impacts. It's truly been a pleasure working with you. Thank you very much. And to the members who make us, have an enjoyable day, and thank you again for being with us for your annual meeting.
Restoring power in weather or after an accident, etc., can be a miserable job. Thank you for hanging on a pole while I'm on a couch. No complaints here. Charles R., White River Electric Co-op member.
It's great hearing from our members. There doesn't have to be an outage, though, for you to share your feedback. Our doors are open Monday through Friday. Members can also give their feedback through the Member Alliance program and at whiteriver.org anytime, day or night. These options allow the board to address our members' concern year-round instead of just once a year at annual meeting, be it online or in person. We keep you informed through our website and social channels, and for less than $5 a member per year, we have our monthly publication in the rural Missouri. Whatever format it may be, we're here to serve you, employees or our board of directors. Our board secretary-treasurer will review important financial pieces here shortly, but before, let's grab a few more prize winners.
Exceptional service, outstanding employees, especially the linemen. Truly, so glad we have White River for our power service. Been with them for over 45 years. Thank you very much for providing such great service. We are blessed to have you on our side. Robert W., White River Co-op member.
Thank you for joining the virtual meeting today. As in previous years, meeting notes, officers' reports, and financial documents are published well in advance of our meeting. As your Secretary-Treasurer, I'm pleased to share the records that have been examined by the White River Valley Electrical Board of Directors. We receive the financials monthly and have an annual audit performed by Forbes, a certified public accounting firm. The auditors submitted a letter to the Board of Directors and the results of our 22 operation and cash flow. The letters reported no discrepancies and in conformity with U.S. accounting principles. You can view the 2022 documents in a few places, in a few official meeting notices, in the August Current Times pages from the Rural Missouri Magazine. You can reference them on the members-only portal in Smart Hub. View all of them on the annual meeting pages of our website and highlights, and also noted in the 2022 annual report that went out last month. When it comes to financials and equity management, our goal is to align corporate costs with the strategic play. While lowering incremental cost, we do so by monitoring the cost throughout the detailed budgeting with trends and projections. Contact us if you have any questions or concerns about these reports and the documents provided. I'd like to take a minute to thank my wife Candy for taking care of our home while I was away on co-op business, and all of the membership I've had the privilege of serving for the past 22 years. I am terming out of my board position. I would also like to thank Chris Hammond and Angie Odell for their help. It has been a pleasure to serve you. God bless.
I will remember the coming of electricity to our farm. We were busy in the tomato cannery and had a lady sitting with our small children. All at once she burst through the door with a child in her arms screaming, "The lights are on! The lights are on!" We were all excited to hear this news. Mrs. Ballou, White River Valley Electric Cooperative's 4th member.
As you just heard from Mrs. Ballou, supporting businesses is something the cooperative has done since the beginning. We strive to be a resource and engage with our members however they need us. It's part of who we are and one of the things that set us apart as a cooperative. Aside from the core services that we offer to our members, we're out doing our part in the community. One of the ways that we do that is through our annual food drive, The Power to Turn Hunger into Hope. It'll kick off in a few weeks, and you'll be able to donate online, in person when we're on location at your local grocery store, or by dropping goodies by your office. Visit our website under the community section for more details on that. And remember, all donations do stay local and support a dedicated pantry in each of our 5 counties. Every dollar donated will provide 4 meals to our neighbors in need. So together we really do have the power to turn hunger into hope. Okay, guys, you still have a little time to vote for the topics you want the execs to cover in the live panel discussion coming up shortly. And don't forget to drop your name in the box below for a chance to win $500 in free electricity. I know prizes are a favorite part of the meeting for many folks, and that's okay. We like sharing and celebrating you. And speaking of sharing, I know you're waiting on details of what's happening with our fiber project. Let's hear from some of the White River Connect employees to see what's going on in the process of connecting our communities with fast, reliable, and local high-speed internet. members have pleaded for years for us to offer internet service because there's limited to no availability in our area. And we've came off just a little over a year since our board made the decision to move forward with our fiber to the home, fiber to the business project. Tell us a little bit about what the road is ahead, Bo.
So first step was to get boots on the ground. Big project, a lot to do ahead of us. Also, we had the challenge that we knew back then with the supply chain coming out of the gate. So we had to start with partnering with strategic partners, vendors that start on that. In parallel with all that, we're starting a new business from scratch. So we had to start with a new identity. Who are we going to be and what are we going to represent with branding and things like that?
Mm-hmm. Well, I know we went back to the members for that. We're sending out surveys, we're asking them how they feel, what services they want, what names resonate, what colors resonate, down to even what service they have, don't have, what speeds they want, and how they would want to do business with us. So wrapping that all together really helped. I mean, their feedback was key in all of that.
A lot of work went into that. I mean, it wasn't just, hey, let's pick a name and let's pick colors and logo. There was a lot of work went into that because it had to mean something.
Well, and the input from our members was just exponential. When we sent out a survey just asking them about their providers and what speeds they were looking for, price points, we had almost 12,000 people respond with the survey. And then when we went back to host these focus groups to really dive into the branding and develop who we were going to be, we had almost 11,000 people that were interested in participating with that. So we had 5 focus groups, 1 in each county that we serve, and we were able to get a lot of great information. And we're excited out of that. We have White River Connect and our blue and green colors that illuminate the fast fiber and the beautiful land that we live in. So we're excited to come forward with that and being powered by WRVEC, White River Valley Electric Cooperative. But it wasn't just the branding part, a lot of other things going on at the same time. Yep. Ryan, tell us about all the design and construction phases.
Yeah, so before any design or construction could start, while all the business development and everything was going on, we had to get people here to assess the poles, figure out if there was room for us to attach to the poles, if the poles were of sufficient quality or height for us to actually make an attachment on them. After that, all that data has to get processed by somebody. So we have a contractor that processes, takes all that information, breaks it down. It gets separated but to what needs to be done to get us ready. And then what are we going to do? What is our actual design going to look like? So at the same time as we're building this network, we're also improving our electric side as well because our poles are getting upgraded. Mm-hmm. Any issues out in the field are being found by either the field collection crews or our actual construction crews because they're touching almost every pole in our system. Yeah, in addition to that, we're also getting fiber to a lot of areas of our electric system where we don't have connectivity. So it's improving the physical structure and it's improving our company communication because we can actually monitor that a lot better. So,
helping to illuminate the road ahead, right?
Yeah.
So you're talking about the design, pole change outs, make ready, all of that type of thing, and then what does the actual construction look like?
Yeah, so we've got contractors out working right now. There's multiple phases to that. They run the main line, they install MSTs, which are the ports where the actual service connections that go to your house tie in. Okay. Those all have to be spliced together. So there's multiple phases to construction. In addition to the multiple phases of construction, everything else that we've talked about is all happening at the same time as well.
So all around our 5 counties,
yeah,
different phases of this could be working, but everything's happening at the same time to work within our 5-year build out, right?
Yeah, we may have data collection going on at the same time as construction in a different area and lots of moving parts a 4,000 mile project is a huge undertaking, so.
Well, and you said parts. I'm thinking parts, materials, inventory. This is a large network. So a lot of material work goes into that, and I know when the order goes in, it's called a BOM. Jay, tell us about the BOM.
A BOM, a bill of materials, right? We got a lot of acronyms, and that's the first one we ran into. But with that, we also ran into some problems. We have long lead times on some of this material. We have continued design changes. So what we order may not be needed or we may need more of it, right? So we're always constantly looking at our inventory, and these BOMs allow us to order phases because 4,000 miles of materials is a big, impossible amount of material to get your hands on. So we order it in phases, these BOMs, right? What we also didn't realize is all this new inventory. We didn't know what it looked like, how much floor space it took up. So that was a big obstacle that we come our way. Oh, wow. When it started coming in at 4 to 5 truckloads a day, we also realized that we needed a little bit of manpower. It takes a while to get those trucks unloaded, counted, verified, and put away. We also ran out of space. So to fix that, here at the Branson location, we did some groundwork to hold about 200 or 200 plus fiber optic reels on a nice, secure location. We also had to go off-site. We leased about 46,000 square foot of warehouse space, but it was undeveloped, so we spent a lot of time developing it to our needs. Another reason we needed a little warehouse help, but we got that in place, so we're good there. But we also found some synergies. From the electric system that we use to monitor our inventory on the electric side, we realized that we could use it on the fiber side. So as those 4 to 5 trucks are coming in, we have a place to check them in really quick. And as it goes out to the contractors, we can check it out real quick. So that's been really nice. But we're not done. We still have to look at our lead times. We're going to get a lot more money in the fiber optic industry. And it's more money, more people ordering more materials, our lead times. We're going to have to start watching that on a go-forward basis.
Well, you said money. And I'm thinking grants. We know that's been a big piece of the pie here. And synergy, too. Both. That's something that stuck out to me because that's what our communities are doing. That's how we got these monies. Initially, some of our commissioners jumped on board right away, realizing the economic impact that this project could have on the counties that they serve, too. So they provided us a local match, and then we were able to put that together with many, I think over 100 letters of support to go towards our MOBIG application, Missouri Broadband Infrastructure Grant, and yet another acronym. I'm sure there's more as we keep talking, right? But excited about that because it helped us make a case, and it stood out, and we were rewarded for that with the largest grant in the state, right?
Yeah. $260 million statewide program, the MOBIG program. And we work very, very hard to make the case for our communities. And certainly the commissioners help with that case, okay? That resonated with those who made a decision on that. So we received, or are awarded, $47.3 million out of the $260 million state program, which was the largest award in the state. So yes, we're very honored, and however, we're going to continue to work hard for any other upcoming opportunities, which one is the BEAD program, another acronym.
Yeah, I think that's, I had to write that one down, I always forget. Broadband Equity Access and Deployment Program, and that's a great example. So $47.3 million is still just a piece of our over $260 million project, just for our footprint. So we need every bit that we can, and administration has announced BEAD for the state of Missouri over $1.7 billion with a B. So that's a lot of dollars here, and something that we're probably not going to see again, at least in those amounts.
I think you're right. This project's very challenging in terms of the cost of it. Very challenging, a lot of rock, terrain. The construction is just higher than you see in most areas. So the grant program is a big need for us in our communities to make this project a success. We still have areas that we believe that should qualify for the BEAD program. And the difference is $1.7 billion compared to the MOBIG program of $260 million. So this is a huge program. And we do have these areas that we're going to work hard to make our case again and why they should fund these areas. And working hard on behalf of our community, and also strategically work with the state and assure them that we will meet their objectives and what they're trying to accomplish with these grant programs.
Well, and straight from the governor's office is Connect All Missourians, right?
Yep.
And we know that 20% of the people in Missouri are considered unserved, and 60% of those live in our footprint. So we have a strong case,
Right.
and we're going to continue to make that, as you said. And nobody should be limited on their opportunities just because of where they live, right? But before we can even offer service, we need to know what we're offering, what speeds, what costs, what equipment that we're using, the software that manages our customer base, and the service itself, all to make sure that we're delivering on that fast, reliable, local internet service. Bo, tell us about business readiness.
So as we're developing our outside network, we're also developing the operations and what's needed for this business on the inside too. And that's business support systems, operation support systems, things that has to be procured and deployed to support this network and how we deliver these services to our customers with the focus on the customer experience. So working real hard with that, what packages we're going to offer with the different speeds, but also added value services too. Developing our website, ways that we effectively communicate with our customers and the public, things like that.
Well, I know that identifying pain points has been a big part of that. We're experiencing the same things too, right? And we're wanting that after-hour services and some of those other things that I know we've spent many hours talking about and what we're going to offer to.
Well, that's part of the customer experience, because we have a list of pain points that we've heard and from our communities and that we experience ourselves because we're local, okay? We live in these communities too. Things like, extended customer service hours, technical support hours, reliability, that's a big thing. Also, 5 locations where they can pick up their home equipment if needed on the same day. So, we're working hard on that with the focus, again, on customer experience.
Customer experience. Well, I know that there's a lot of sweat equity going in at this point. And aside from what's going on out with construction, putting the packages together, we're still establishing a business, right? And everybody's played a part. Velma, you've been right at the helm of that too. Tell us about some of the administrative things.
So we're developing clear guidelines and standards to govern all aspects of the business. We're defining our vision and our mission, and that's really going to be the driving factor behind all policies, all of our procedures, establishing our long-term goals. Within that business structure, we're also doing, we're having to develop the hierarchy, the departments, who reports to who within each department. Compliancy is going to, be a big factor in this business, and so we're learning, the laws and the regulations that go along with that. Consistently reviewing and adapting to all of those is also a big part of this. And we're utilizing our existing employees and, scaling up as the business grows.
Well, in staffing, people can go to the website, whiteriverconnect.com, to see when we have jobs available, as they'll be coming as the need requires. But we'll also have packages, the different services, a pretty cool feature where people can even enter their address and sign up to get information to be the first to know when it's available at their location. So a lot of resources there, and of course they can follow us on all of our social channels. But we're just excited to get this thing up off the ground, right? But asking people to be patient because it is a 5-year project. I mean, we're building a business from scratch. We're putting together an infrastructure that's going to be the biggest project in 84 years, right? So on that note, Bo, do you want to leave us with any parting words?
So we have a lot going on, and even beyond what we discussed today, but the message is that we're coming.
We're coming. Thanks for sharing, guys.
Thank you. Thanks.
One thing that I depend on greatly that electricity provides for me is the internet. White River Valley Electric Cooperative is coming out with a plan for fiber-to-the-home internet. Many of my friends have an atrocious internet, which affects their ability to communicate and to succeed in school. If a reliable internet service is provided, It will greatly impact their life. It will make the community stronger by giving them the opportunity to do better in school and the tools to communicate. Bailey Guidry, Youth Tour Delegate, Ludi High School.
We're back, and I'm here with the rest of the Cooperative's executive staff, except for our CEO. You heard from Mr. Hammond earlier. Throughout the meeting, you've had the opportunity to select topics you'd like us to discuss, so let's get started. The top topic on everybody's mind, it's happening all around us. Tim, what's going on with electric rates?
You know, that's a very good question. I will tell you, over the past 7 years, White River has been able to sustain raising our electric rates. But think about what's happened over the last 7 years. We've seen COVID-19, we've seen some dramatic shifts in inflation, supply chain management, and we've also seen some very unpredictable costs of power. So I will tell you that it's going to be a topic that White River discusses in the near future, but it's something that we review annually. So after every year, we get our financial statements put together, we bring them to our board of directors, then ultimately what we do is we make that decision, and we have a tool internally to help us whether or not we need to raise rates or sustain rates.
Good deal. So always in constant review. Well, and another question that you all asked was about rebates. So smart energy choices just make a home more comfortable, and they help your bills to be affordable. So White River participates with our power provider, Associated Electric, in the Take Control and Save program. And on our website, you can see a number of different rebates that we offer, from smart thermostats, water heaters, heat pumps, even EV chargers. So we encourage our members to go there. You can fill out the application from the website, super easy. We even have links to requesting home audits, where you can then get a rebate on any findings and what you fix from the home audit. We also have additional resources there that would get you to federal incentives, all to help save money. So we've got a lot of things there to offer. Outages.
Yes.
We've talked about that throughout the videos, and since some of the things we put together earlier, we've had some crazy summer storms. So
yes.
John, tell us about outages.
We've had a very active outage season this year, and you know, we do our best to try to restore outages as quickly as possible, but also, you know, we also want to make sure the membership understands how important the outage is to us. I know that emotions run high, and you know, everybody gets a little on edge, but that's to be expected. But we as a cooperative, you know, whether it be from the line department, from dispatch, even all the way down to every person that's involved with the co-op, we take it so seriously, and we do our very, very best to try to get your lights on as soon as possible, because we want them on as well.
Right, and you said emotions. That's because everybody here wants to deliver at 100%. 100% of the time. I know we've said that, and we do our best to,
there's no doubt,
to mitigate those things when they happen, but sometimes Mother Nature has different plans, doesn't she?
She does.
We still love her, but she does. So solar and EV, Rick, in engineering, tell us what you're seeing from that perspective.
Sure. With regards to solar, I would like to, Ross in an earlier segment did a nice job of covering that topic, but I would also like to put in a safety plug for the importance for us to know where that behind the meter generation is, because of its ability to backfeed onto our system. So, and I would direct our members to our website, which really has the resources they need to make good decisions. And with regard to electric vehicles, haven't seen a major influx in our service territory yet, but we definitely are keeping our eyes on that industry because of the potential profound impact it can have to the demand for electricity. So definitely keeping tabs on that.
Absolutely, and as the adoption increases, we want to be ready to meet our members' needs and make sure that we can sustain from a power capacity too.
Sure.
Okay, thank you. So cyber security, JC in IT, what are you guys seeing?
Well, as you know, cybersecurity is one of the most important aspects to information technology today. We see threat actors constantly trying to invade our system, and our responsibility is to protect our members' data as well as White River's reputation. To that end, just over a year ago, we hired a full-time cybersecurity analyst, and that person's job is to make sure the bad people don't get into our system. We also have the resources of both Show Me Power and Associated Electric, and they have teams of cybersecurity experts. So if we run into an issue, we can always reach out to them for help. And we're unique in that we have 2 transmission cooperatives, so we can also reach out to KMO Power as well. So we're doing everything we can to protect our cyber stance.
I was going to say, I said before, it's a great day to be a cooperative member, but one of those reasons is because we have so many additional resources. Show Me, KMO, Associated, and then our statewide and nationwide associations too. So employment. The business is growing on the electric side. We're adding members as people come into the area. And then, of course, brand new fiber business, Angie and HR Business Admin. Tell us all about it.
Employment. So we get that question asked quite a bit. So the best place to go for any information is going to be our websites, just as Rick alluded to earlier. Our White River Cooperative website, as well as our Connect website. They both have a job opportunity tab. You just click on that tab, you'll be able to see what openings are there, be able to read the job description, and then right from that same place, you'll be able to click an easy apply. It's the best place, the fastest place to see what's going on at both of our cooperatives as well as Connect. And some people try to send in that contact us information and try to send us their resumes. Because the timing is different from when the job is coming open that they may be applicable for, we would just suggest don't do that. Just wait till those jobs come open, apply, and we'll definitely be in touch.
Okay, because you probably don't keep those on file.
We don't keep them on file. That we would just, my office would be filled with resumes.
Right. Well, and a potential employee wants to be timely and relevant and at the top of the list, right?
Correct.
So, don't want to wait on that.
Exactly.
Well, thanks a lot for sharing. Thank you all for voting. This was fun, new thing this year. So we appreciate you giving us your insight on the topics that matter to you most, because your continued feedback really is what helps to keep us on track. Whether it's an interactive meeting session or casting your ballot during election time, it's that voluntary member participation that's also one of our core principles. And that gives you a voice in how the co-op is governed and, of course, how we operate each day. There just so happens to be additional benefits too. Remember, if you voted in the election, you'll receive a $10 bill credit, and you are also entered to win many other great prizes. I have the last group of winners here, but don't go anywhere after that because we have the election results. We'll have a quick chat with our CEO from White River Connect, and then one lucky winner will receive a $500 bill credit. Here are more prizes.
This co-op is absolutely the best in the area, and probably the state. They are really quick when the power goes out, which it rarely does. The linemen are super friendly, and I couldn't be happier. I have White River Valley Electric Cooperative from my power company. James D., White River Co-op member.
The call for board candidates was made in June through our cooperative's dedicated pages in the Rural Missouri magazine. which included information on qualifications and commitment to serve on the board of directors. Formal qualifications are specified in our bylaws and summarized as follows. You must be a member of the cooperative. Your primary residence must be in the county and district you will serve. You must have an account in good standing. You cannot be a current applicant or employee of White River. You cannot be a close relative of a White River employee or incumbent director. You cannot be employed by or financially interested in a competing enterprise. You must have the capacity to enter legally binding contracts. And as it currently stands, if you don't meet the primary residence requirement for electric service, you must be the principal of a business or organization on White River's lines. Significant time is devoted to the cooperative by all board members through attendance at monthly board, committee, and association meetings. On average, about 25 hours a month is spent on board-related business by each board member. Board members review cooperative information, reports, and communications in a timely and responsive manner, prepare for meetings, talk with fellow co-op members, and complete continuous director training to achieve credentials on their education and skills for service. Board members also have significant engagement with their community and have a clear understanding of the cooperative model and principles, fulfilling fiduciary duties as they guide and direct the business and affairs of the cooperative. There is risk and responsibility for each director and personal liabilities if their duties are not met. Directors are paid per diem for their service to the cooperative, which depends on the number of meetings and events attended throughout the year. More information about director compensation can be found in the members-only portal in SmartHub. The nominating process for our board of directors is set forth in our bylaws. There are essentially two ways to make the slate of board candidates. You can apply and proceed through the nominating committee process, or you can become a petition candidate by obtaining 15 qualified signatures. Candidates coming through the nominating committee are vetted and are interviewed by the committee. Petition candidates simply have qualifications confirmed. They are not interviewed. The nominating committee of 9 members organized in June of this year. Committee members included Chairperson Corey Clayton, Secretary Lanny Kearns, along with Linda Gregory, Tammy Morton, Dylan Jones, Sheena Loftus, Cheryl Burnett, Dan Leland, and Callie Linville. I want to express a sincere thank you to all the committee members for their service. You play a vital role in the governance of the cooperative. The nominating committee reviewed all the written materials submitted by the candidates who applied and met on June 15th to interview all candidate applications. There were 11 candidates in all who submitted applications for 3 board seats up for election this year from Stone, Christian, and Ozark counties. After the interview process, the committee deliberated and selected candidates for member consideration, ranking the candidates in order of preference and strength. The nominating committee minutes were included with your August issue of Rural Missouri, and the slate of candidates that have been nominated by the committee this year are District A, Stone County, John Cooper and Leon Frazier. District C, Christian County, Jeff Hyatt. District E, Ozark County, Jim Britt, Greg Donnelly, and John Turner. This is how your full slate of board candidates was formed for this year's vote. In addition to our director election, we have 2 bylaw amendments presented for member consideration and approval this year. One related to annual meeting planning, and the other related to campaign financing transparency for local control of your cooperative. I will next introduce Mr. Chris Massman, who is a representative from the Association of Missouri Electric Cooperatives, our statewide association. He will share more about this year's election process and the steps utilized to keep our elections fair and secure. Chris?
Good morning. My name is Chris Massman with the Association of Missouri Electric Cooperatives, and our association, along with our partners, Pioneer Utility Resources, once again handled the proceedings for the 2023 White River Valley Electric Cooperative annual election. The 2023 election was held once again online with the option to request an absentee ballot. Online voting was open from August 14th to August 25th, and I am excited to announce that we set a new record for member votes this year. Before voting, members were required to verify their identity using the following 3 data points: the member's name, their membership number, and unique PIN number. Once again, once these identifiers were confirmed, members were able to gain access to the ballot on the secure website or given the opportunity to request an absentee ballot. The absentee ballots were printed on watermarked paper, making them impossible to copy, and came with instructions that the ballot must be returned in the provided unique envelope. All ballots returned were received within the provided rules. To ensure that each member was only allowed 1 vote, we used a digital membership database which electronically marked each member once they voted online or made the request for an absentee ballot. Once voting closed, we compiled the results from the online and absentee votes and got the following voting numbers and election results. There were a total of 2,419 online votes and 49 absentee votes for an overall total of 2,468 votes, which again is a great voter turnout for White River Valley. Thank you for taking the time to vote in this year's elections. And the election results are, in District A, Stone County, John Cooper received 1,456 votes, and Leonard Leon Frazier received 740. The winner is John Cooper, and he will be elected to serve a 3-year term. In District C, Christian County, Jeff Hyatt received 2,116 votes and will also be elected to serve a 3-year term. In District E, Ozark County, Jim Britt received 1,305 votes, John Michael Turner received 520, and Greg Austin Donnelly received 365 votes, making the winner Jim Britt, who will serve a 3-year term. For Bylaw Amendment 1, flexibility on annual meeting dates, there were 2,251 yes votes and 160 no votes, so the bylaw passes. And on Bylaw Amendment 2, disclosure of campaign contributions, we received 2,260 yes votes and 102 no votes. Once again, that bylaw passes as well. Congratulations to the winning candidates and to the member opportunities that these bylaws will allow. I will now turn it back over to White River's attorney to verify the results. Christian?
Thank you, Mr. Massman. As counsel to the Cooperative Board, I will attest to the election process and the verified results. We appreciate your assistance with the 2023 election, utilizing online and mail-in ballots. We will adjourn the business portion of the meeting, but send it back to Cassie to wrap up.
White River Valley Electric Cooperative and the REA have already changed family histories. They gave our loved ones the ability to further education without leaving their home and families. I'm here today, able to write into the night because of these events. White River Valley Electric Cooperative continues to provide this essential commodity, not for profit, with a greater emphasis on community. White River Valley gives for our futures. Aaliyah Youngblood, Youth Tour Delegate, School of the Ozarks.
We realize the commitment to deliver reliable internet service is vital for the growth and sustainability of our membership and the communities we serve. The CEO of our new fiber subsidiary, White River Connect, is here to cover a few things. Mr. Jackson, we get asked a lot of questions, so have you here to answer the top 3 for us today. Number 1, when will it be available in my area?
So this is a 5-year project of building over 4,000 miles of fiber. So it's an aggressive timeline, aggressive schedule. The project goal is to provide access to fast, reliable internet services to all our members by 2028. We started construction in June and have a good start so far with the plans to start offering internet services to our first subscribers in the first quarter of next year, which is 2024.
Coming right
Now, there are several factors such as permitting, grant funding obligations, and ongoing network design work that can have impacts to timelines in certain areas, but still within that 5-year time frame. So some changes in schedules can go, but we'll navigate through that as we move forward with the project.
All right.
So.
Well, that's just right around the corner, so I'm sure folks are going to be excited.
Well, and I'll also say that to check service availability, you can go to our website at whiteriverconnect.com, enter your address, and also sign up for notifications or receive the latest updates on the project specific to your area.
Yeah, so they'll be the first to know.
Sure, yeah.
Right. So number 2, how much will service cost?
So we're building a world-class network that's going to be advanced. It's going to have has scalability to it. So our plan is to initially offer services that's going to be competitive in the markets. Okay. It's going to be the fastest internet speeds. It's going to be the most reliable internet services in our areas. Our goal and plan for at least the initial packages of our residential internet services, we're going to try to keep it under $100.
Oh, okay.
So we are subscribing to the Affordable Connectivity Program, which is an income qualifying program for subscribers to receive up to $30 of credit towards their bill every month. I will say that our plan is to publish our initial residential packages for internet services on our website.
On the website.
So I continue to encourage to check the website for not only just the latest updates on the projects, but also our initial offerings for our internet services.
Well, I know that's going to be coming up soon, fine-tuning all the details and
right.
making sure we're offering the best. So number 3, what speeds will be offered?
So our initial offerings for our residential packages, our internet packages, are going to be up to gig speeds. We will be able to offer multi-gig speeds for our commercial business packages. Now within these packages, it's going to be symmetrical speeds, which means that your upload speed is going to be as fast as your download speeds.
Okay.
There's a lot of value in that, considering how much content that subscribers and internet users are now uploading to the internet, such as uploading your videos, your pictures to social media platforms, and also to your cloud backup services online.
Okay.
So in addition, with the network that we are deploying, with our initial offerings of residential up to gig speeds, we will be able to offer multi-gig speeds for residential packages when that time comes that there is a demand and a need for those speeds.
Well, I know members are excited. I'm an excited member. I think I bring up the service at my home in every meeting that we're in, so I'm ready for it too. Anything else you'd like to leave us with in regards to fiber internet services?
I'll just continue to emphasize, encourage everyone to go to our website, whiteriverconnect.com, to get the latest updates and get your questions answered there. Also, don't be surprised that this is a big project. There's a lot of moving parts. So don't be surprised that within your area, you're going to see multiple activities and crews over the duration of this project, even within our right-of-way. So yeah, we're excited. Again, 5-year aggressive schedule. We're trying to do it as fast as we can, and when it's all said and done, it's going to be the best network in the area.
Yes, fast as we can and right.
Yeah.
Right and reliable. Well, thanks, Bo. And remember, as he said, we're currently working on design in some areas, full on construction mode in others, but we are working across the entire 5-county area to build that world-class fiber network. In the meantime, be sure to make sure the information on your account is correct as far as contact. You can also visit whiteriver.com, whiteriverconnect.com to sign up and receive project updates and really be the first to know when service is going to be available in your area. Remember, search your address at whiteriverconnect.com. Got it right that time. Let's hear our final reflection from one of the many members who make us before we close, and then we'll grab the winner of $500 in free electricity just for joining the meeting today.
This was our first big grant, and we loved that it concentrated on nonprofits in Douglas County. With the granted volunteers, we were able to get all the arena lights installed and working. Thank you to everyone at White River for choosing Buck Your Club as this year's recipient and making this possible. We will never forget this. Amber Feidler-Smith, Buck Your Club, White River Plugged In Grant recipient.
We love being a part of our communities. Our commitment is strong and just another part of the cooperative difference. Whether it's grants or other support offered through our Operation Roundup program to appliance rebates that help offset your energy use and lower the bill. We're always here to serve you. For joining us today, you had an opportunity to win an additional $500 bill credit. We really appreciate you participating in your electric cooperative. We've drawn for that winner. Have it here. It is Beverly Esker from Ridgedale, Missouri. Beverly, you have won a $500 bill credit for being part of the meeting today. We appreciate you all joining us and each of you that voted in our election proceedings this year. It's been a pleasure to celebrate the members that make us and share what's happening with your electric provider, White River Valley Electric Cooperative, and soon your internet provider, White River Connect. Have a great rest of your day and a safe and fruitful holiday weekend.